All right, welcome back. The cost of everyday goods and services continues to rise. I'm sure you're feeling this. Under the leadership of the Biden administration, the bottom line here is that Americans are paying more for almost everything they purchase. And it happened in less than 7 months. People are especially paying more at the grocery store for certain meats. Pork prices have risen 14%, bacon up more than 11%, steak not far behind that. Fish prices also surging as well. Also, the price of other things are surging, such as the price of rental cars, going up nearly 75%, used cars going up more than 40%, and hotels going up nearly 20%. Now, when people can see and feel these prices, they're, of course, asking, where's the relief? What can be done to alleviate this? We're all paying, I guess, an additional tax, the inflation tax. Let's welcome in now our business and market analyst, Seth Denson. He is the author of The Cure, a blueprint for solving America's healthcare crisis. Also back with us, Senior Director at Harbor Life Brokerage, Heather Zumarraga. Heather, Seth, great to see you both.
Hey, John.
Good to be here.
All right, so, Seth, the meats, they're more expensive, and now everyone's mad, right? No, all kidding aside, it is impossible for Jerome Powell to continue to tell us that this is, what is it called? Transitory inflation, right? That means it's not real. You're not really paying more. It's just transitory. No, it's real.
Yeah, that money is transitory. It's transitory right out of my wallet. That's the reality of this situation. No, I mean, listen, you had economists even come out yesterday and say, hey, good news, prices only inflated 0.5% as opposed to 0.9% last month. I'm sitting there going, wait a minute, 0.5 plus 0.9 is still inflation. That's compounded inflation. And so, yeah, I'm waiting for this transitory process. And listen, a lot of people weren't talking about it as much because they weren't feeling it. There were certain sectors that were inflated, but you just posted those numbers up there on meat and goods. Everything is inflated now. The Biden administration last week was championing this 0.4% wage increase. Well, that's great. Now we only need 10 times that amount to keep up with how much more things are costing us. And I don't see anything from the administration right now or the Fed that's going to help bring that down.
Hey, you know, they're trying to address this. Heather, we talked about how Joe Biden is begging OPEC to please pump more oil so that the cost of gas comes down. We were all kind of joking on Twitter after our panel last week about how Seth's truck and my truck keep appreciating in value. But this is, there's nothing you can, obtain from that. Just everything's more expensive, and there doesn't seem to be an end to it, Heather.
Yeah, right. Inflation is among, I think, not just American, but also investors' biggest concerns as prices continue to skyrocket. Consumer price index was at 5.4% again in July, which was a record since 2008, the last recession that we had, as well as if you look at the prices for producers, it's a historic high, the highest on record since we started tracking this data, of 7.8%. And as people are feeling it and seeing it, the data numerically does become a lot more impactful. And even liberal economists are noting that this is potentially very bad for our economy. If you look at former Obama economic advisor Jason Furman, he said, this is not transitory. That's that word that the Fed keeps using, meaning temporary inflation. Even if you take out, your truck and used cars and food and fuel and housing and all other categories, prices are still way above trend levels and rising rapidly. It's not temporary.
Now, of course, this feels like a tax to a lot of people already, but we do hear about whispers of more taxes, higher taxes. We talked about Elizabeth Warren and Angus King proposing a windfall profits tax, Seth, and there's no way that Democrats can, with a straight face, look at the American Republic and say that we can afford a $3.5 trillion additional spending package on top of everything else and without raising taxes on the middle class.
Well, they can't. And quite frankly, what raising taxes on the middle class is going to do is going to only impede the economic growth, in my opinion, because they're already struggling now with paying for goods and services as it is. And the Biden administration has continuously pressed this idea they're going to tax the wealthy and corporations. Well, where does that money go? Well, that money goes back into margin. That goes back into raising the price of goods, cutting down jobs and labor and moving jobs overseas. And so, listen, we can all have debates specifically on these things in this human infrastructure bill, but now is not the time to go invest $3.5 trillion when our debt is where it is, and our economy, whether we like it or not, is still on shaky ground from a recovery perspective. There's just not the money to do it.
We always hear, Heather, from Joe Biden and other Democrats, in a time like this, when they have the power, that the wealthy need to pay their fair share. What does that mean, though, for Joe Biden, paying their fair share?
Right. Well, I think that has yet to be seen, and that the wealthy paying their fair share will ultimately trickle down to the middle class paying more in the taxes as well. Everybody knows this. Inflation itself is a hidden tax. I think it's the biggest impact on blue collar workers right now because the rising cost of goods is outpacing your wage gains. So every time you think, oh, I'm making more money, wages are going up, this is great. If prices are increasing more than your wages, that's a big problem. And when you think, if you still haven't seen it for example, on your grocery bill, when you go to buy food and you think, why do I care? Well, in general, inflation disproportionately impacts the poor and affects them the greatest. So if you're really trying to stick it to the rich, this would not be the best way to go about it. Progressives should really consider when the role that inflation played in electing Nixon in 1968, for example, and rising prices also helped Reagan get elected in 1980. So it's not a good strategy for the Democrats.
And Clinton, too, to a certain degree. It's the economy stupid. It always is. People vote their pocketbooks. Tales old as time, always will be true. Heather, Seth, great to see you both. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, John.